Let's take a look at some subtraction strategies that include being able to subtract when regrouping is necessary. We're going to take a look at 3 broad strategies, and within those strategies there'll be some finer details, and we'll end up at the end actually with 6 specific strategies that we can use with students. So the first strategy is going to be a strategy that involves decomposing. So let's say, for example, we want to do 72 take away 46. We want students to be able to decompose 72 into 7 tens and 2 ones, and then decompose 46 into 4 tens and 6 ones. Now when I take a look at this, I notice I have 2 ones, but I'm trying to take 6 ones away from it. I'm not able to do that. So I'm going to need to make a fair trade. I'm going to go over to the tens and take one of his tens and break it up into 10 ones. So now I have 6 tens, because remember I took one, and I have these 10 ones that I just got from decomposing one of the tens, and I already had 2 ones. So now I have 12 ones. I still want to subtract the 4 tens and the 6 ones. That part does not change. When I do the subtraction, I will end up with 6 ones and 2 tens for a total of 26, which means that 72 take away 46 is equal to 26. Notice how this fair trade that we're doing is going to lead very nicely later on to the standard algorithm when students start working on that in later grades. All right, let's do this one more time with a little bit larger number. Let's look at 834 take away 97. In this case, I have 8 hundreds, 3 tens, and I have 4 ones. And I want to subtract 9 tens and 7 ones. Now when I look, I notice I'm trying to subtract 7 ones from 4 ones. Well, that can't be done. I'm also trying to subtract 9 tens from 3 tens. I'm going to need to do some fair trading here. So I'm going to take one of these hundreds and break it into 10 tens. So now I have 13 tens. So I have 7 hundredths, I have 13 tens, and I have 4 ones. And I'm still subtracting those same 9 tens and 7 ones. But I still can't do this because the ones, I need to do some more fair trading. So I'm going to take one of these tens and break it into 10 ones. So now I have 7 hundredths, 12 tens, and 14 ones. Still subtracting the 9 tens and 7 ones. When I subtract, I will end up with 7 hundredths, 3 tens, and 7 ones for a total of 737, which means 834 take away 97 is 737. All right, let's take a look at another strategy. And this strategy is called compensation. And I'm going to show you 2 different ways that we can do compensation. There's a third way that you may see often where they compensate after the operation is already done. I find that to be confusing when working with students, so I prefer to help students understand compensation before the operation. So one way that we can compensate is we can compensate the subtrahend, or in other words, this second number, the number we are subtracting. I notice that my subtrahend is 29. I really wish it was 30, because 30 is so easy to subtract multiples of 10. So I'm going to compensate by adjusting the 29 to 30, and I'm going to also need to adjust the 64. So let's talk about that for a minute. Subtraction is just the distance between 2 points. So I'm looking for the distance between 29 and 64. If I move the 29 up a space, notice what happened to the 64. If the distance stays the same, the 64 moves up as well. So in this case, I move the 29 up one space, so I need to move the 64 up to 65. The distance between 64 and 29 is the same distance between 65 and 30. So when I subtract to get 35 here, that means 64 take away 29, which is what I'm really trying to find out, is also going to be 35. All right, let's take a look at this with a little bit larger number. Let's say I want to do 174 take away 98. I really wish the subtrahend was 100 because it's so easy to subtract 100 from values. I'm looking for how much distance is between 98 and 174. Well, if I move 98 two places, notice that the 174 moved two places, so it is now a 176. Subtraction becomes a piece of cake. Because this distance is 76, that means that this distance must also be 76 because I moved both of them up the same amount of place values. So the distance remained the same. Another compensation method that I can use is I can actually adjust the minuend. The minuend is the number on top, the number that I'm going to diminish or make smaller. I'm going to make this 50 smaller by 28. Normally I love working with these multiples of 10, but when the 50 is the minuend, it makes it difficult because I have 0 take away 8. I really wish I was working with 49. I love subtracting when 9 is on top because it's so easy to do. Notice I brought the 50 this time down to 49. I want the distance to remain the same, so if the 50 comes down to 49, notice the 28 also moved down. They both are moving down one place. Subtraction becomes very easy now. The distance here is 22, which means the distance here must also be 22. All right, you want to see that again with a little bit larger value? Let's look at 171 take away 46. This is not going to be an easy subtraction, but if it ended with a 9, it would be. So I'm going to just bring it down to 169, which is pretty close to 171. I have to move it down two places to get it to be 169, which means I need to bring this down two places, down to a 44. The distance of this is the exact same distance here because I moved both numbers down two places without adjusting the distance between them. Because 169 take away 44 is 125, that means that what I'm actually looking for, 171 take away 46, is also 125. All right, let's take a look at one more strategy, number line strategy. And we're going to actually look at 3 different number line strategies. The first one that we're going to look at is called the count up strategy. So let's say we want to do 72 minus 46. I would draw an open number line. And I am trying to find the distance between 46 and 72. Remember, subtraction is just simply the distance. This is the count up strategy, so I'm going to head this direction. I don't really know how much it is to do it in one big leap, so I'm going to do it in small pieces that I do know. I know that if I make a small leap of 4, I will land on 50. I know now that I'm on 50, I can make this big leap of 20 to get me to 70. I'm very close now. All I need now is just a very small leap of 2, and it puts me at 72. So I made a leap of 4 and 20 and 2 for a total of 26 leaps to get from 46 to 72. So the distance from 46 to 72 is 26, which means 72 minus 46 must be 26. All right, let's take a look at the count back strategy. This time, let's use a little bit larger value of 124, take away 96. Starts the same way. I'm trying to find the distance between 124 and 96, but this time, I'm going to head back. So at 124, I know I can make a leap of 24, and that will get me to the number 100. Now I just got to go from 100 to 96. I know that's just a leap of 4. So I made a leap of 24 and a leap of 4 for a total of 28 places that I've moved, which means the distance between 124 and 96 is 28. 124 take away 96 must equal 28. All right, last one. This one is called taking from. I'm going to show you this 2 different ways. Let's do this first one of 62 minus 38. All right, so in this case, it's a little bit different. This question says start at 62 and take away 38. So I'm going to take away 38. And whatever I land on over here is the solution. Now I don't know how to leap from 62 and one great big leap of 38 at one time, so I'm going to do it in little parts. I do know how to make a leap of 30. That will get me to 32. That means I only have 8 left. I already used up 30 of the 38. I'm just going to do a little leap of 2 because I know that will get me to 30. I now have 6 left. And I know how to do a leap of 6 off of 30 to get to 24. Because I landed on 24 after making a leap of 38, that means the solution must be 24. All right, let's look at it just a little bit differently. Let me show you one more way that you could do this. In this case, I'm starting at 304. This is the taking from strategy, so I want to take 97. Wherever I land over here is the solution. If I take 100, that's really easy to do, so I'm going to make this great big leap of 100 and land on 204. But do you notice I leaped too far? I went 3 too far. So all I need to do is come back the 3 that I went too far. So I'm going to add 3 back on, and I'll land on 207, which means 304 minus 97 must be 207. So we've looked at several strategies. We looked at the number line strategy. We talked about counting up, counting back, and taking from. We also looked at the compensation strategy, where we can either adjust the subtrahend or we can adjust the minuend. And then we also looked at strategy of decomposing. Lots of strategies, so try them out, and remember your students will need lots and lots of practice and feedback to become really good at these strategies.